Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to try to unpack, the real potential of AI in higher education,
Right.
particularly when it comes to student recruitment. We've got this great article called Disappointed by AI in Student Recruitment. Try Backend Apps.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it really cuts through a lot of the hype
It does.
that's out there. So are you ready to dive in?
I am. Let's do it.
Great. So this article comes out swinging, right? It says that a lot of universities are kind of disillusioned with AI right now because they're focusing on all the wrong things when it
Right.
comes to implementation.
Yeah, I think that's true, and it's understandable, right? I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of universities, they kind of jumped on this AI bandwagon.
Yeah.
They're hoping for that silver bullet to solve all their recruitment challenges.
Right.
But AI, much like all emerging technologies, it follows a pretty predictable pattern,
Okay.
and it doesn't always, live up to those initial expectations.
That sounds like the Gartner hype cycle that the article talks about.
Yeah, exactly. The Gartner hype cycle, it really perfectly illustrates this common trajectory, right? You have this initial surge of excitement. We call it the peak of inflated expectations where, the promises are just sky high, right?
Yeah.
But then a reality sets in, right?
Right.
And we enter the trough of disillusionment.
So you're saying that's where a lot of universities are landing with AI right now?
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, that's the case.
Okay.
They're just not seeing that return on investment that they expected, right?
Right.
And I think this disappointment really stems from a couple of key factors.
Okay.
Higher education has a very, very unique set of complexities, right?
Okay.
And this makes it particularly challenging for AI to deliver on those early promises. Unlike a simple online purchase, the student journey from that initial inquiry to enrollment, it's anything but linear.
Yeah, it's complicated.
It's very, very complicated.
Yeah.
And the data itself, right, it's often very varied and messy, right?
Right.
And AI systems, they struggle to effectively process that type of data.
So it's not that AI is inherently bad. It's more about mismatched expectations
Yeah.
and maybe trying to apply it to the wrong problems.
Exactly. We're seeing this phenomenon
Okay.
called AI washing,
The horsing.
where basic automation is kind of dressed up
Okay.
and marketed as cutting-edge AI,
Uh-huh.
right? And universities are facing budget constraints, right?
Right.
They're overwhelmed by student inquiries, and they get lured in
Yeah.
by these promises of flashy solutions,
It's like chatbots.
Yeah, like chatbots, automated marketing campaigns, things like that.
But those chatbots are popping up everywhere these days.
They are.
Why wouldn't they work for student recruitment?
Well, I think one of the biggest hurdles with a lot of these student-facing AI tools
Okay.
is the accuracy problem.
Okay.
Let's take chatbots as an example. Most of these chatbots, they rely on these machine learning models that are trained on existing data, right?
Right.
And oftentimes, that data is just scraped from university websites.
So if a university's website is outdated or has inaccurate information,
Yeah,
the chatbot's basically just going to be spewing nonsense.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like asking for directions
Oh,
from someone who's using a map from the 1950s,
Right.
right?
Right.
The information might have been accurate then, but it's useless now,
Yeah.
And even tech giants, right?
Yeah.
The companies like Amazon, with all their resources, they've faced similar challenges, right?
Yeah.
Think about the just walk out technology.
Oh, yeah, and the Amazon Fresh stores.
Yeah.
I remember reading about that.
Yeah, it didn't quite go as smoothly as they planned, did it?
No, not at all.
No, so, I mean, it just goes to show, right, even with vast amounts of data
Yeah.
and cutting-edge technology, customer-facing AI, it can be really difficult to get right.
So if all these student-facing AI tools aren't really delivering on their promises, where does AI actually hold promise in higher ed?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
This article, it argues that the real sweet spot for AI in higher ed
Okay.
is in back-end applications.
Oh, back end.
Yeah, so we're talking about those behind-the-scenes tasks
Okay.
where AI can actually free up staff time,
Fair enough.
improve efficiency,
Mhm.
and ultimately allow universities to really focus on what matters most,
Now what's that?
building those relationships with students.
So it's not about replacing human interaction.
No,
It's more about kind of supporting it.
exactly. Think about it this way. Imagine using AI for quality assurance
Okay.
on student phone calls.
Okay, so listening in.
Yeah, so an AI system could analyze those calls in real time, right?
Mm.
give staff immediate feedback, and even, gauge student sentiment.
Wow.
And this type of analysis, which traditionally takes hours of manual review,
Yeah.
AI could do it in a fraction of the time.
That's incredible.
It is, it is.
So we're talking about stuff that's already happening, but AI can just make it faster and more efficient.
Exactly, exactly. And by automating those back-end processes, universities can redirect staff, right?
To more important things,
To more meaningful student-facing interactions.
like actual conversation.
Exactly. Personalized guidance support,
Right.
The possibilities are really fast when you start to think about that potential of back-end AI.
So this is where we go from the what to the how, right?
Yeah.
Like,
What?
what are some other, maybe more specific examples of back-end AI that universities could be using right now?
Well, one area that's particularly exciting is predictive modeling.
Okay.
Imagine being able to predict which students are most likely to enroll,
Wow.
which intervention strategies would be most effective, or even how to allocate resources
That's amazing. Yeah.
more efficiently, right?
Yeah, it's like a crystal ball for student recruitment.
Yeah, it really is.
But hold on. The article did mention a major hurdle when it comes to predictive modeling.
Yeah,
What was that again?
data consistency.
Data consistency.
Yeah, it's like the Achilles heel of predictive modeling in higher education.
So even though we have all this fancy AI at our fingertips,
Yeah.
it all comes back to the data.
Always, always. You see, to train these sophisticated predictive models,
Yeah.
you need those reliable and consistent data sets.
Mm-hmm.
But higher ed data, it's often anything but consistent.
In what way?
Well, you've got changing policies, deadlines, courses,
Oh, yeah.
all these factors. They make it extremely difficult to build models that are accurate year after year.
So a model that's trained on, say, last year's data might be totally off base this year.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that brings us to another crucial point: the limitations of individual universities when it comes to data.
Okay, I'm sensing another but coming.
There might be, what's the catch this time?
The catch is that individual universities just don't have the breadth and depth of data needed to train truly effective predictive models.
They don't.
They don't. They're working with limited data sets
Okay.
that might not be representative of the wider student population. So, what's the solution? How can universities overcome this data dilemma?
That's where things get really intriguing. And we'll pick it up in part 2 of our deep dive. See you soon.
Welcome back to our deep dive into AI in higher education.
It's great to be back.
We left off on a bit of a cliffhanger,
Who did?
talking about how universities need more data
Right.
to really,
Yeah.
unlock the power of AI,
Yeah.
especially for things like predictive modeling.
Exactly. And the article suggests a pretty bold solution:
What's that?
a shared, standardized data pool
Okay.
from multiple institutions.
So instead of each university kind of hoarding its own data,
Yeah.
they would all contribute to this giant collective data set.
Precisely.
Wow.
That kind of aggregated data would be an absolute gold mine
Yeah.
for training those truly effective AI models, right?
Uh-huh.
It would allow universities to actually account for the variations between institutions and create models that are far more accurate and reliable.
That sounds like a game changer, but I'm curious about the logistics of something like that.
Yeah.
How realistic is it to expect universities to willingly share their data?
It's certainly a complex undertaking,
Yeah.
both from a technical and a logistical perspective.
Uh-huh.
It would require a very high level of trust and collaboration
Yeah.
between institutions.
And probably a lot of legal agreement and data security protocols.
Absolutely. Data privacy is paramount,
Right.
and any system for data sharing would need to be ironclad in that regard.
Right. So I imagine there would be concerns from students too, right?
Of course. Of course. Students would need to be fully informed about how their data is being used
Right.
and given the opportunity to opt out
Yeah.
if they have concerns.
So transparency and consent are key.
Absolutely.
But even with all of those safeguards in place,
Yeah.
there's still the question of what should universities be doing right now?
Uh,
While this massive data sharing system is still hypothetical, I mean, what can they do to start maximizing their use of AI with the data they already have?
that's a great question.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is to really focus on the right applications.
Okay.
As we discussed in part 1, chasing after those flashy student-facing AI tools might not be the most effective strategy.
Right, because they can be inaccurate
Yeah.
and they might not actually save staff any time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead, I think universities should be looking for ways to leverage AI behind the scenes
Okay.
to improve efficiency and free up that staff time.
So doubling down on those back-end applications.
Exactly, exactly.
Huh.
Think about those areas where AI could actually streamline processes, analyze data, and provide those valuable insights that can really inform decision-making.
You mentioned quality assurance on phone calls earlier.
Yeah.
What are some other examples?
Well, AI could be used to personalize communication with prospective students.
Okay.
Imagine an AI system that analyzes student inquiries and automatically generates tailored responses that actually address their specific questions and interests.
That would save staff a ton of time.
It would.
Wow.
And it could lead to more engaging and effective communication with students.
Right.
Instead of sending out those generic mass emails, universities could use AI to deliver personalized messages
Okay.
that really resonate with individual students.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
What about using AI to improve the application process itself?
absolutely.
Could it be used to streamline application review?
Yeah.
Or even make admissions decisions?
So that's a tricky one.
Okay.
While AI can certainly be used to automate certain aspects of application review,
Like what?
like checking for completeness or flagging potential issues, I think it's important to tread carefully
Okay.
when it comes to using AI for those high-stakes decisions like admissions.
So there's still a need for human judgment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh.
AI can be a very powerful tool, but it should be used to augment human intelligence, not replace it.
Okay.
When it comes to decisions that have a significant impact on students' lives,
Right.
human oversight is crucial.
So AI could be used to kind of help admission staff work more efficiently,
Yeah.
but the final decision should always rest with a human.
Exactly. Exactly.
That-
AI can help us process information more quickly
Yeah.
and identify patterns that we might otherwise miss, but it's still up to humans to interpret that information and make those judgments based on a holistic understanding of each applicant.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance between leveraging the power of AI,
Right.
but still preserving the human element.
Precisely, precisely. And that balance is going to be crucial
Yeah.
as AI becomes more prevalent in higher education.
Right.
We need to ensure that AI is used in a way that benefits both institutions and students without undermining those core values of education.
This brings up another important question.
Yeah.
What impact will all this automation have on the student experience? If more and more tasks are being handled by AI,
Yeah.
will students start to feel like they're just interacting with machines?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
It's crucial that universities use AI in a way that enhances the student experience,
Okay.
not detracts from it.
So how can they do that?
Yeah.
How can they make sure that AI is being used to personalize the student experience,
Right.
not depersonalize it?
I think there are several ways.
Okay.
One is to use AI to provide students with more personalized support and guidance.
Okay, like what? Give us some examples.
Well, imagine an AI-powered system that tracks student progress in real time
Okay.
and flags students who are falling behind.
Uh-huh.
That system could then automatically alert advisors
Wow.
or connect those students with tutoring resources.
So being proactive instead of waiting for students to reach out for help when they're already struggling.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
AI can help us to be more proactive in our support of students,
Mm.
which can make a huge difference in their success.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
What else?
AI can also be used to create more personalized learning experiences.
Okay.
Imagine AI-powered tutoring systems
Yeah.
that adapt to individual student learning styles
Uh-huh.
and provide customized feedback and instruction.
That sounds pretty futuristic.
It's up.
Is that something that's actually happening right now?
It is. There are already a number of companies developing AI-powered tutoring systems
Wow.
that are being used in colleges and universities around the world.
Mm.
And the results are very promising.
That's really exciting, but I can also see a potential downside.
Yeah.
What about students who might not have equal access to technology?
Right.
Or who might not be comfortable interacting with AI systems?
That's a crucial point, and it brings up that issue of equity.
Okay.
Universities need to be very mindful of the potential for AI to exacerbate existing inequalities
Right.
and take steps to ensure equitable access to AI-powered resources and support.
So it's not just about implementing the technology. It's about making sure that everyone has an equal opportunity to benefit from it.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
It's about using AI to level the playing field,
Hmm.
not create new barriers.
Right.
And it's about ensuring that everyone feels comfortable and supported in this new AI-powered learning environment.
This has been a really thought-provoking discussion about the practical considerations of implementing AI in higher education.
It's clear that there's a lot to consider, but the potential benefits are significant.
And it sounds like universities are just scratching the surface of what's possible with AI.
They are.
So what's next for AI in higher education? Where do we go from here?
That's a great question, and one we'll delve into in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
See you soon.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into AI and higher education.
It's great to be back. We've covered a lot of ground so far.
We have, everything from the hype to the practical challenges.
Right, exactly.
And, the importance of that human element.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to kind of recap, we've talked about the disillusionment some universities are facing.
Yeah.
Those potential pitfalls of student-facing AI, the power of back-end applications.
Right.
And the need for a more strategic and ethical approach.
Yeah, I think those are all really crucial points.
So after all this talk about, the what and the how of AI, what's the one thing our listeners should walk away remembering?
I think it's this. AI is a powerful tool, but it's not a magic wand.
Right. So no waving it around and just hoping for the best.
Exactly. It's not going to magically solve all of higher education's challenges overnight.
So no cutting corners when it comes to implementation.
Definitely not. It requires careful planning.
Yeah.
A deep understanding of the technology, its capabilities and limitations.
Okay.
And a willingness to adapt and evolve as the field progresses.
It's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Absolutely not. It's an ongoing journey.
Yeah.
It requires continuous learning, evaluation, and refinement.
So where do we go from here?
Yeah. What are some practical steps universities can take to make sure their AI initiatives are actually successful and, beneficial for students?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I think the first step is really clearly defining your goals.
Okay.
What challenges are you hoping to address with AI? What outcomes are you aiming for? Without a clear vision,
Right.
it's easy to get caught up in the hype and chase after solutions that aren't the right fit for your institution.
It's like wandering around a supermarket without a shopping list.
That's a great analogy.
You end up with a bunch of stuff you don't need.
Yeah, exactly.
So once you have that clear understanding of your goals,
Yeah.
you can start exploring different AI solutions.
Right.
And really evaluating them based on,
Yeah.
whether they align with your needs and values.
Absolutely.
So do your research. Don't just jump on the first shiny new AI product.
Exactly. It's crucial to ask the right questions.
Yeah, like what?
Like, what data is this AI system using? How is it being trained? What are the potential biases?
What are the ethical implications?
Mm.
These are all really important things to consider.
And remember, we talked about the importance of transparency.
Yes.
Students have a right to know how their data is being used.
Absolutely.
And how AI is being incorporated into their educational experience.
They absolutely do. Involving students in the conversation is crucial.
Mm.
Get their input, address their concerns, and make sure they feel comfortable
Mm.
and empowered in this new, AI-powered learning environment.
That makes a lot of sense. This brings up another point. The role of faculty and staff.
Yeah.
How can universities make sure that their AI initiatives actually have the support
Right.
of the people who are going to be most impacted by them?
Yeah, I think it's crucial to involve faculty and staff in every stage of the AI implementation process, from the planning and development to the training and evaluation.
So no top-down mandates.
Definitely not. It needs to be a collaborative effort.
Okay.
Faculty and staff are the ones who are interacting with students every day, so that their insights and perspectives are invaluable.
And they're also the ones who are going to be using these AI tools, right?
Certainly.
So making sure they're comfortable and confident with the technology is essential.
It is. Investing in training and professional development is absolutely key.
Yeah.
Help faculty and staff understand how AI can be used to enhance their work, not replace it.
It's about empowering them, not making them feel threatened.
Exactly.
That's it.
And it's about creating a culture of experimentation and innovation. Encourage faculty and staff to explore new ways to use AI in their teaching, research, and student support roles.
This all sounds great, but I can imagine it can be pretty overwhelming.
Yeah.
Where do you even begin?
Yeah, well, I think the best approach is to start small.
Okay.
Don't try to do everything at once.
Right.
identified a specific area where AI could make a real difference.
Okay.
Maybe a pain point that's been causing headaches for staff or students.
So like a pilot project, a proof of concept
Okay.
to kind of test the waters.
Yeah, start with a manageable scope, gather data, evaluate the results, and learn from your experience.
And then gradually scale up your efforts
Right?
as you gain confidence and expertise.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's a journey, not a destination.
It is. It's an ongoing process of learning, adapting, and refining your approach.
And it's a journey that, if done right, has the potential to be really transformative.
It really does.
Well, I think that's a perfect note to end on.
It is.
Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up?
Just this. As we navigate this new frontier of AI in higher education, let's remember to keep the focus on what really matters. Creating a more equitable, accessible, and engaging learning experience for all students.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll wrap up our deep dive into AI in higher education. Thanks for joining us.